Focus. Ideate. Innovate. Enable.
Hello and welcome to this very special initiative. Diageo and Network 18 present the Road to Safety campaign. As the name suggests, it's an initiative in which we hope and aim to spread awareness with the sole objective, the sole and only objective of saving lives. And this partnership hopes to achieve that with the help of each and every one of us. It's a collective responsibility here, and that's exactly what we're aiming to do, to spread awareness and make a difference with this initiative. And to take this conversation forward, to talk about what exactly are the nuts and bolts of this entire initiative, we have Mr. Abanti Sankaranarayan, the Chief Strategy and Corporate Affairs Officer at Diageo India. Thanks very much for your time here on the show, and we're hoping to learn a lot more about this initiative and how each and every individual, each and every citizen, because this concerns all of us, and how we can make a difference. So thanks very much for your time. First up, just introduce this entire initiative to all of us.
So delighted to be here in the studio and with you, Arunoday. I want to start by saying that sadly, India has the dubious distinction of being the road accident capital of the world. And that's what we want to change with this campaign. And want to start really making a big difference there. What makes India the road accident capital of the world? Well, to begin with, we account for 12.5% of the total global accidents in the world. So that's a very large number. And that's according to the WHO, so that's very credible data. UN estimates that one person is injured every minute in this country. There is one serious accident every minute in India, and 16 fatalities every hour on our roads. So we have killer roads. And therefore, our attempt really through this program, through Network 18 and Diageo coming together is, as you said rightly, is to save lives, to make a big push towards a comprehensive program that will try to address this whole issue of lack of road safety, really.
Was it the statistics? Because those statistics really scream out to each and every one of us. I mean, it's shocking, and it's something that needs to be tackled head on and at the earliest. Was that the primary trigger for Diageo to take this up? What was the reason why Diageo took this up?
So 2 or 3 things actually, maybe I'll explain each of those separately. So the first is the kind of company that we are and we wish to be. So for Diageo, it's very important that we are a responsible manufacturer and marketer of our brands. And therefore, what we aim to do really is to work with like-minded partners to really address the harmful use of alcohol. And obviously, as you would know, road safety is also compromised by irresponsible and harmful drinking. When people are drunk, shouldn't get behind a wheel, but actually end up doing that. So we are committed to making a difference to alcohol harm. And therefore, that's one of the reasons why we want to do that. And indeed, we want to be, as Diageo, at the industry forefront in trying to address alcohol harm. The second reason is because we genuinely believe that it's important to play a big role in the community and the societies in which we operate with the big issues. And therefore, absolutely, the statistics were a very important reason for us to say, hey, we must try to do what we can in this area. And the third thing is because we believe that not just individually, but with big partnerships, big and small partnerships actually, whether it be with governments at the center and the state, media houses like yourself, educators, universities, we work with universities as well, and not-for-profit organizations and civil society at large. Through the power of partnerships, we can actually bring our collective might to address serious issues.
And maximize
such as
the
roads.
outreach as well.
Absolutely, maximize the outreach, because one of the things we've learned is when you try to make a meaningful difference on big societal issues such as road safety, it can't be done by just one or two organizations. You need to really be a catalyst, and that's the role that we want to play, and really bring together different stakeholders to address the problem across multiple levers and dimensions.
If we were to talk about the specifics, if people would like to get involved, taking pledges about, using, say, video messages, how does it work?
So this is going to be a multi-pronged campaign across not just television, but even digital, as well as, very importantly, on-ground activation and on-ground activities. And the reason it's going to be multi-pronged in this way is because we want to reach out to the maximum number of people and stakeholders as we can. So that itself provides an opportunity for people to engage. One of the things that this campaign will have is actually taking pledges, but not so much pledges, but actually sort of almost like commitment. One of the other things that this program will do is actually get key opinion leaders and influencers to come on and spread the message. So we hope to have traffic police officials, chief ministers, key opinion leaders, many people adding their voice.
People who have an influence, people who have mass following.
Exactly, and who help us in the campaign to break through the clutter which is inevitably there out there. So that, the voice is heard loud and clear.
Are there key areas that we're looking to target specifically in the beginning to have maximum impact? And what are those key areas?
So, we will have four sort of dimensions, four key areas of focus, if I can call it that. So what are the 4 E's of road safety? The first is education, which is really all about building awareness, large-scale awareness, and that's where, again, a media partnership with Network 18 will be a big catalyst for that. And the next E is actually enforcement. So a big role in road safety is played by enforcement, and that's why, as I said, we will have traffic police, enforcement agencies, all of them partnering and playing a role in this campaign. The third is emergency response, and that's all about in the golden hour, in the moment that unfortunately an accident happens. What is the kind of emergency service that's needed, and what can citizens do, what can emergency services do? That's, in fact, I want to say, going to be a new dimension that we haven't had in our campaign so far. So that's the third E. So I said education.
So there's education, there's enforcement, emergency response, and engineering.
Yes. So the engineering one is all about looking at actually road and construction, defects in the road. One of the things that we will be focusing on is what more can be done in that field so that the roads are constructed better, maintained better. There will be road audits that we will suggest in certain states and in certain towns. So that's the fourth and the last E's.
Right, and the education sector. That's interesting because in this way. It leaves the project to be as flexible as possible. So you can target even a younger audience. You can target an older audience. You can say schools, say colleges. Is that something that would also really help in adding a lot of weight to the
absolutely. So you have to start early if you want to change and shift behaviors. And therefore, really targeting schools and universities are very, very important and a critical element of the campaign. And that's something that we have actually done in the last 4 years. I'm now talking more broadly about Diageo's road safety campaign, which is in its 4th year now. Going to universities is a very important part of the road safety campaign that we have done so far, and we absolutely intend to keep it that way.
The general awareness is there, but I think a focused, streamlined awareness campaign like this one is certainly going to be able to, shift focus and make it a priority, and I think that's where this campaign makes a difference. I'm going to just take a very short break, but our conversation continues with Abanti, so do come right back. Welcome back to Diageo and Network 18 present the Road to Safety campaign. We continue to be in conversation with Abanti, and we've discussed several aspects of it already. Abanti, any kind of an initiative also, we look at some sort of a time frame. Are we looking at any kind of a time frame here? It's an ongoing mission. It's a great start. Is there a time frame that we can look at maybe?
So absolutely, as I said, we as Diageo have been doing this campaign now for 4 years. And while right now we are looking at launching this as, the first year of the campaign, I'm very hopeful that it won't stop at 1 year because, as you rightly said, these things require multi-year campaigns. And I'm pretty confident that, this is only the start of what will be a much longer term campaign.
And there is immediately an emotional and a personal connect with a project like this, right? It's not like any other project. I'd just like to delve a little more about that, because this is a project, this is an initiative rather, where, there is a human aspect to it. There is a noble intention in which you want to ensure that families are not destroyed. The roads are safe to travel, because as India tries to make that leap into the big category of world powers, this is the basic that we need to attack. And I think in that way, there is a huge contribution as far as this initiative is concerned.
Yeah. And you're so right about saving lives as well as, protecting families and individuals. So many of these deaths that are happening. So India has, sadly, again, 150,000 deaths on the roads every year. Many of those can actually be saved by very, very simple, just responsible behaviors. Let's take putting the seat belt when you're in a vehicle, in a car. I mean, you do have now many, many more drivers, at least, putting a seat belt. But how many of us who sit behind the driver in India actually use a seat belt? We don't. And that one simple behavior is something that can make a dramatic difference to making sure that lots more families are safe. And, talking about, making it personal, actually in our company, in the quarterly town halls that we do, our CEO talks about wearing a seat belt and reminds the employees, 2,500 of us employees in the company, please wear a seat belt. So I think it's about also creating awareness about simple things like that we can do. Use a designated driver. As you said, India is becoming more and more a force to reckon with in the global stage. Right. And as a part of that, people enjoy a good drink. Most of us hopefully enjoy that responsibly. But if you are at a pub or at a friend's house and, you've had a drink too many or just had 2 or 3 drinks, now you should be responsible enough and think about your family to say, hey, I'm not going to get behind the wheel and use a designated driver. And
I think that this is one of the emotions that this initiative hopes to achieve as well, to put that in perspective.
Absolutely. And, it's really about saying, I have a family waiting back for me, and I want to come home safe.
And we mentioned about putting seat belts, and I think after a long time, it has been regularized, at least in the NCR, that the driver and the co-passenger will put the seat belts, but at the back, no one really bothers. But this is something that we've seen, say, in other countries abroad. That the rules are more streamlined. What are some of the things that that an international perspective can also bring into a campaign like this?
One of the things, for instance, that we've brought into India is a collaboration that we have with UNITAR, which is United Nations Institute for Training and Research, where based on learnings in other countries such as Mexico, Philippines, Thailand, etc., they've actually come and done a workshop with senior traffic police and other enforcement agencies, as well as NGOs on what could be the best practices for enforcement, as well as education and awareness. So there is a lot, absolutely, that we can learn, and we try to bring that into India through partners like UNITAR that we have worked with in other countries, and try to bring those learnings and best practices.
Is enforcement one of the most important challenges right now that we're looking at?
I think so. I think absolutely enforcement is a challenge. And one of the things we do as an on-the-ground program is a capacity building program that we've done so far in over 17 states and 60 cities with the Institute of Road Traffic and Education, where we actually do 2-day workshops with traffic police on traffic management. So we build that capacity, we help build that capacity. We also give breath analyzers. We've donated as part of our program, we've donated about 500 breath analyzers. So absolutely, I think it is an important issue today, and we are again doing what we can to.
Right. What are the immediate achievables you're looking at?
Well, I think the most important achievable that we're looking at is really spreading awareness about the issue, and therefore, again, one of the big advantages of partnership with Network 18 is just the reach that you have. Yeah. So the other metric, tangible kind of target, if I can call it that, for our campaign would be what has been the number of people who've participated in the on-ground activations. I think the other metric we will look at is how many key opinion leaders has this campaign in its first year brought into this conversation, how many have actually participated. So I would say these three would be sort of tangible, measurable, quantifiable targets. And one of the things I would love to actually do through this campaign is arrive at some measure of have we actually changed attitude. So, you can measure awareness through the metrics that I just mentioned. So it's awareness, attitude, behavior. That's generally the sequence in which the change happens. So people become aware, then their attitude changes.
The psychology changes as well.
Yeah, exactly. The psychology, the attitude changes, and hopefully that then leads sequentially to behavior changing.
Right.
So what can we do? And I think that's for our teams to hunker down and figure out how can we capture whether attitudes are changing.
Basically, at the end, I'd just like to ask you, what is that one message, if you would like to give to the people who we're looking at and hoping to associate themselves with the movement, to become a part of it? Because as we started out to say, it's a collaborative effort, it's collective responsibility that we're looking at. What is that one message that you'd like to give?
I would say, go back home safe.
Go back home safe, and I think that's a good note to wrap this up on. After understanding what this initiative is about, this collaboration is about, what it tries to achieve, go back home safe. And at the end of the day, as Abanti pointed out, and the conversation really has highlighted, that it's not worth it, and that's exactly what we're trying to do: create awareness, educate yourselves, and also be a part of it. It's a collective responsibility, and at the end of the day, it's trying to make a better future, trying to make everything a little better. So why not become a part of it? So thanks very much, Abanti, for being with us. It's a pleasure as well, and wishing this entire project and this initiative all the very best. Diageo and Network 18 present Road to Safety. Thanks very much for watching.